Привет всем! Welcome to this review looking at Trumpeter's 1/35 scale kit of the Russian T-72B B1. Let's get straight into this review. We are looking at this Trumpeter kit. Actually came out in 2014, but it is still an excellent kit. Let's get this box opened up and show you what's inside. It is quite a big, heavy box. It is absolutely packed full of stuff. Let's see what's inside here. Got some blurb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There is loads inside here. There's like about 28 bags or something. Let's have a look in detail on this. This kit is pretty amazing. Let's start with the instructions. Why do I think these kits are great? I think these are like seriously some of the best tank kits that have been made. We already saw like the masses of trees that we've got. This thing is basically packed full of detail. There's no argument against it. I have built like their T90 and the T80s, so I've already done a T72 chassis type vehicle. But let's just quickly look at the steps. Some bits are going to be a bit off-putting, like you have to put on loads of little PE detail on. These are very small parts, but I'm going to go through the entire thing because obviously this is going to be our next project. You get full under chassis sort of detail, including this. This is like it's like a sort of small sort of mini blade that they can use for basically entrenching themselves in. It sort of like scrapes away the earth. The main feature of this kit is that it's got the contact 1 error blocks, explosive reaction armor blocks. These are like, obviously there's still a lot of work that's been involved this to get this all put together, and it actually shows you the scheme of them all going on. But as you can imagine, when you've all those little blocks as well, it's going to look very impressive. It's going to look quite interesting as a kit. So stage 19, we're sort of constructing the main hull of the vehicles getting built up, and then I think there's some options here. You've got the contact 1 error going on the side skirts here. These are rubber side skirts, by the way, on the Russian vehicles. They're not armoured, so the error blocks are the only protection that was offered there. And I think there's a couple of options. I need to look a little bit closer, but what I remember about it being marketing was like there were some different options that were included within the box. Okay, we're on the turret, and as it said, like there's 30, so all these blocks are individual. Got lots of work to do to get this thing together, but I don't think there's another way to do this. Well, you can have like segmented blocks, but regardless, to get all the detail, you're gonna have to use a lot of parts. The turrets are also very impressive. You've got clear parts for the optics, and you've got multiple facets of detail, including like the snorkeling equipment. You've also got like a weather type shield for the commander's 12.7 heavy machine gun. You get all these stowage baskets that go on the turret. Got the snorkeling device. The barrels in 2 parts. That's a bit of a letdown. I would say it's the only sort of letdown really in this kit, because everything else is supremely detailed. I'm going to show you the schemes now. The schemes are quite interesting. They went to town on this. This is like one of their very first T-72 releases. So they put extra effort into the markings, and you've actually got some from the conflict between Armenia, Azerbaijan. You've also got the conflict in the Ukraine in 2014. And you've got both sides are covered as well. So this T-70B1 was active in that conflict. And there's loads of different markings and schemes, and we're assuming that they've been researched to some extent. But overall, a very impressive vehicle. You also get some blurb inside here. You can see this is going back a while. This is when they announced the 1/16 scale Panzer IV. Let's have a look at the parts in detail now. I'm going to use my typical presentation style now for reviews. I'm going to show you an overview of some of the sprues. I'm not going to show you all of them, else we'll be doing this for like about an hour. But I'll show you overall. Obviously, we've got like 4 or 5 of these. This is like generic sprue for the road wheels, and also the drive sprockets. Let's zoom you in now to show you the detail that's been rendered. There we go, showing you the sort of detail. It's actually got the mold marks of the rubber portion of the road wheels. You can see it on the outside there. So that is not like flash or anything or mold marks. That's actually quite deliberate. Of course, that would get quite worn off during the early stage. Just show that sprocket there. And there is the idler with all the bolt detail. There's a few other parts on here as well. This is a bit unfortunate, the way that they have the sprue attachment points on these smoke grenade launchers on the side there. Wouldn't it just be easy if they were put on the other way, so it would be easy to clean up? But one of those things. Let's have a look at some more sprues. This is a sprue with the side skirts and also got a bit of the rear deck. Again, like, I'll just zoom you in to show you the detail. Here's the side skirts. Remember, this is a rubber, and they've actually depicted undulations in the surface to depict that as being rubber. Rear grille, or rear deck grille, part of the air intakes, and part of the front glasses plate as well there. All this is obviously, as I said, it's going to get covered up with all those error blocks, but I just thought I'd show you the nice detail that's rendered in, including all these little bolts and details. This is just one of the generic sprues, of which there are 2 off. But again, I just want to show the detail again. There are the idler. This is the rear fuel drum with all the latching and all the support straps rendered on there. Some of the finer detail and the smaller parts here, just to show you that basically everything is detailed, and you're going to have to deal with quite a lot of small parts. But isn't that part of model making? On this sprue, we've got the gun barrel and some more detailed parts. I'll show you again in detail. Looking at one of the halves of the gun barrel, it's pretty good, but I'm going to show you an aftermarket replacement that we have that I may or may not use. What is pretty good is that they've got the cladding on the gun there. You can see on the barrel shroud, and it's got the details properly depicted. It is pretty good. It is usable, definitely. I'm just going to show you another part that is kind of interesting in these Trumpeter kits. Yeah, just point this out. We've got 2 sprues that are actually not in the styrene plastic, but more in like a vinyl flexible plastic. And as you can see, it is the gun mantlet, which is flexible. I think they cast them like this so that they can get more of this sort of texture in them. And there's 3 versions. I'm not too sure which one, but I think this allows you to pose the gun at different angles. The gun isn't movable as in the mantlet, and also is the, I think this is the shell casing bag that catches the ammo or the spent cartridges, and this is the unditching log that gets attached to the rear of the tank. Just going to show you this sprue. I'm going to go back to the one that I showed you previously. As I did state earlier, yeah, there are options in the side skirts. That is the one without the contact 1 error blocks on. This is the one with all the attachment points for the contact 1 error. Let me again show you in detail this top glasses plate. There we are, some really nice molded on details, conduits, etc. Also note this here around the turret ring. And I'll just bring you in as well, just show you these side skirts as well, which are similar, obviously. The point to note, of course, is that they've included these side steps, and there's a couple of runs of ERA blocks there as well on this sprue. Worth showing you this sprue. This is the fuel tanks on one side and so-called zip containers on the other. Again, I'm going to show you the detail, which is excellent on these. There we go, you can see all that latch detail all rendered in there. I think on one of the kits that I did, I think it was a T-80, I think all these latches were photo etch parts or something. So that looks a little bit easier to do. I'll just show you the fuel tanks now. All the moulding detail is absolutely first class. Just to give you an idea of what's involved, here are the 4 identical sprues with the contact 1 ERA blocks. Obviously a lot of work, all of these need to be placed onto the tank. Again, excellent detail right down to those little bolts, attachment points. What would be nice to do is to modify a few of them to be damaged. The actual composition of this is just like a sheet steel, with the inside is a plastic explosive that's placed in. So these did get damaged, get torn off of the vehicles, as you can see from many reference photographs. But also they will look superb on your model, just all that detail. Also worth pointing out are the tracks. Individual links, no link and length here. I have built these a few times now on different Trumpeter kits, and I'm just going to show you again in detail. I haven't got much of a problem with this. There's a lot of work involved, of course, because you've got to do lots of cleanup and lots of construction. But they do look really good. They do provide a very good result. So I'm just going to show you in detail again. There we are. There's the track links. These are not really clipped together. There's nothing on them that allows them to clip together. They all need to be cemented together. It is a bit of a process. I will show you how it's done when I embark on this build, of course, because I think I am going to use out-of-the-box tracks. Here are the hero parts, slide molded parts, turret and the lower part of the hull as a one-part molding. There's also some ancillaries inside here. I'll just explain these. You get a piece of wire and also some vinyl cord. This is to construct the fuel lines that link the auxiliary rear fuel drums into the fuel system. So basically the plumbing is done with that. And of course we have some poly caps for the wheels. Let me show you in detail these 2 slide molded parts. Start off with the turret. All these little dots here have got a PE part that corresponds with it. This is actually the anti-radiation cladding, and the PE parts represent the fasteners to fix it onto what is the cast hull. It's actually got a cast texture on it as well, which is okay, but by no means mind-blowing. The main thing is getting the shape right as well. That is really what counts. And as I said, this thing gets layered with all these blocks anyways, but is worth showing you the detail. You can just see there's a little bit of a seam there, but as I said, everything gets covered up. And then finally the lower hull, one piece with excellent detailing of all the suspension location points. There's lots and lots that needs to go into this. It's worth noting as well with Trumpeter as well, they detailed underneath of all their armoured vehicles, or basically most of them as well. It's got one piece hull, makes things a little bit easier, but with like I think a part count exceeding 2,000, your work is not going to be cut out for you. Okay, final things to show you are the photo etch, which is included, the stickers and the clear parts. The clear parts are clear, yeah, okay. Anyways, I think the main thing to show you is that the optics are included and that they are actually clear parts, need masking, etc. But they are included within the kit. With the P, I'm not going to get it out at this stage. I'm just going to show you how much there is, and there is a lot of it. As I was mentioning, these are these fasteners for the cladding. There are like the grills as well for intakes, etc. on the engine. Yes, there is this is a duplicate, so there's 2 of these frets with a lot of parts on. And then one more sprue here with individual detail parts. Most of these are the straps that strap the fuel tanks, etc., to the side of the fenders. This piece of wire included inside here is obviously the recovery wire, and there's also some detailing for the barrel there. I'm just going to show you quickly also some aftermarket parts that I've got. I've got a couple of sets here, the 2A46M 125mm gun. I've got these from Armour Hobbies, full brass. It's quite heavy because it's not hollowed out. If you decide to opt for this as well, you might have to counterbalance your turret. I found that with a T80. Got various photo etched details here. I will probably try and use this on the build, which will be kicking off very shortly. And I think the only thing I need to show you now is these stickers. Here's the markings. We sort of discussed what was included in terms of the decals. This is quite an unusual kit from Trumpeter. Usually they specialize in the Soviet Russian style equipment, as we did in our Trumpeter sort of profile of the company. But this is one of the very few kits that includes non-generic markings, instead providing specific tank markings. May or may not use these, undecided. Really, that's all in the future. Why do I think this is one of the best kits ever? It's actually just to do with what you've just seen. It's to do with the detail, the amount of parts. It is really joy to build. It blows away the likes of Tammy, etc., and it's very buildable and very fun. And also, in terms of T-72s, only T-72s really that are in the sort of game are Meng, which are also meant to be pretty good from what I've heard. These Trumpeter ones, loads and loads of parts. If you like building, you're going to love this kit. Anyways, that ends the review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and of course we'll be kicking off this build real soon.